Okay, so my anchor chain is like super rusted. And this is the end bits that go in the mud. I think it was about sometime in the river where our chain got really nasty. But if you look there. So what I'm doing is I'm going to take the chain off. I'm going to inspect it and either cut off the rusty bits or bit and then put the anchor back on with less chain, or maybe buy new chain. So I'm going to do this over the water. So what I did is I tied a line around the anchor with a clove hitch. So the anchor is being held. This is a Mantus shackle. It's super beefy. And I've already taken this off. That's held on with a wire through that hole. And then here's the rest of the swivel. So this is a massively beefy 5/16 to 3/8 swivel. So I've got that off from there. Now I've got to remove all these wires. These wires are safety things that keep it from falling apart. And then I'm going to run the chain overboard into the dinghy and take the dinghy to shore and work on the chain. So this shackle has this wire that keeps this piece screwed on. This outer piece unscrews and these two open up, and that's what holds the chain. So I'm going to snip these off and remove this wire. Alright, I'm going to try to do it with one hand, but it's quite an ingenious invention Mantus has done with a swivel. I've never seen anybody else do it. So this bottom piece turns. Let's see if I can do it. It unscrews. It's kind of hard to do. It unscrews. Come on. And then it gets down. Now this is all Teflon tape. And the Teflon tape is to hold these threads. And that comes off. Teflon tape comes off. We'll replace that. See how, look at that. That's how the Mantus swivel works. Got a little rust. So that comes off. And this comes off like that. And then this pin comes out. And when the pin comes out, the chain comes out. It's ingenious. So there's nothing holding the pin in except for the collar. This collar bit holds the pin in and screws over like that. Pretty smart. So I'm going to set that aside. Let's see what I can do about cleaning up this chain. So I'm going to push down, and then the weight of the chain going over the bow roller. Eventually, once enough weight's there, it'll pull the chain out. And then I'll get the dinghy and put it under. Like this. Just need enough weight for it to start pulling. We'll get the dinghy over there in a second. Alright, I got the chain in the dinghy with the rode, all of it together. took it over to the dinghy dock, loaded it into a cart, brought it back to the boat. And then I did about 8-to-1 muriatic acid in a bucket. And the most rusty bit, which is in the bucket. And it's been in there for about 20 minutes. As soon as the bubbling stops, quite a difference, you can see. Let's see what happens when the rusty bits get in there. It starts bubbling pretty good. All right, after the chain was boiling in the bucket and I got it cleaned up and rinsed, and I put it all back together, and I didn't make a video, but I cleaned up the anchor locker. This was all rusty, and put the swivel back on with 2 of these wire ties, wraps around this collar, and 2 around this bolt so it doesn't back out. And then I put the chain back in. It came out okay. Parts of it looked like brand new chain, and parts of it looked still rusty. But really what I found was that probably a lot of the galvanized had come off, but the chain looked like it's still in pretty good shape, so it's going to last for a while longer. It's still going to rust though, because the surface rust started right away, so I'm assuming that's where the galvanized is gone. So that's the deal. We'll be looking on Craigslist for 3/8 inch galvanized grade 43 chain. But we're all back together and ready to leave Fort Myers and use the anchor to get back to St. Augustine.